So what are your favorite games on the Switch for indie stuff?
Well, I mean,
Like top 3.
Top 3. I mean, I got a handful that I can give you.
Top 5.
Can
you do top 5?
I can do top 5.
Okay.
So I say my, I guess my 5th favorite indie on the Switch is one that I featured on a post recently on my Instagram. It's called Donut County. So it's a game basically where you're. Sorry, I didn't expect to super enjoy it when I first saw it.
It's a different game. It's
weird and quirky,
yeah.
and but it's fun. Like the writing's really good. You play as this raccoon who is delivering donuts, but really it's just you're sucking people into this giant hole.
Yeah,
and it's told from the perspective of them in the future. Like, why did you do this to the town? Anyway, the story's cute and whatever, and doesn't really matter. But the gameplay is
my
really
job.
fun. It's like a reverse Katamari. Like, instead of
that is also on the Switch.
that is instead of rolling a ball and then collecting up all these items, you're trying to basically just have everything fall into this hole that keeps getting bigger. And there's just something really weirdly satisfying about the gameplay.
Yeah,
like something weirdly satisfying about seeing the physics and like having these items fall into the hole. It did only take like 2 or 3 hours.
So do you only get bigger when you put stuff?
Yeah, it gets bigger.
So like I can't eat buildings until I
eat all
and
then eventually you can.
Yeah.
Once you're big enough,
that's
you
cool.
basically suck up the whole.
Yeah, I've seen like gameplay, but
it's very simple. I wouldn't recommend buying it for like $20 or whatever. But
right.
If you see it on sale, it's like a really fun like 2 or 3 hour game, and it's funny. The writing's good.
Yeah.
I like it a lot. So that would be one of them.
Cool.
Do you have any in mind for yourself, or do you want me to continue?
I'll pick my 5th one.
Yeah.
I'm trying to pick 5 first before I'd probably say ukulele. Probably.
True.
I think I desperately want a collectathon Banjo-Kazooie like game on the Switch. Yeah. Like ukulele has a ton of problems, but I think they did what they promised, and therefore I think is a fine game.
Yeah.
You know, like it's very Banjo-Kazooie, which I like. But now with like Microsoft and Nintendo kind of being buddies, I'm wondering
Rare
if
Replay might end up.
Please.
Yeah. I mean, Cuphead
and
coming was
see a ukulele,
was,
but
spoilers.
until
Cuphead
then.
coming.
Yeah.
But yeah, the ukulele always intrigued me. I mean, I haven't played it yet. I have it on PS4, I think, unless we sold it.
Right.
Never got around to playing it, but it looks interesting. I do love Banjo-Kazooie.
Yeah.
But it's a game that I never really got far in for whatever reason.
Okay.
Collectathons are fun. So yeah.
Link to my full walkthrough on.
Click in the description.
Click in the description. Yeah.
Ukulele seems good.
Yeah, it's fine. I think if you're not into those games, you're not gonna get anything out of it because it's very much to those fans. So what's your 4th one?
4th is a game that I have a physical copy of.
Ooh.
And
is it
background?
Is it Darkest Dungeon?
It is Dead Cells.
Oh, Dead Cells.
Go ahead.
I haven't played that one yet.
You have it though, right?
I have it on the PS4, but I think I'd probably get it again on the Switch.
It is a game that I don't know. So I have this thing with roguelikes.
Mm-hmm.
I really like them. I like playing them. I know I'll probably never beat them.
Right.
I don't think I'll ever beat Dead Cells. There's just something about going into the run, getting as far as you can, and there's like the time aspect, and just seeing how far you can get.
Right.
That is just so satisfying, even if you die, because you're kind of meant to die in those kind of games.
Like and most roguelikes.
Roguelikes, that's kind of the thing. Like the mechanic is based around death. And with Dead Cells, it's just like the most perfectly controlled, one of the most perfectly controlled games I've ever played. Like the action is so fluid, everything just feels so tight.
Wow.
And with a game like that, it's kind of necessary, but just how good it is in Dead Cells is kind of amazing.
Wow.
It took me months to beat the first boss, and then I did. And I think I've been able to beat him a few times after that.
Nice.
So there is like a level.
So when you die, you got to play him again?
You got to start over.
Yeah, you got to start all over. Wow.
It's like a run-based thing. But yeah, I highly recommend it if you're into... I mean, if you're into that kind of game, you probably already have Dead Cells. I mean, it was kind of all the rage last year.
Yeah.
But it is really as good as people say. you just have to be ready to die a lot.
I guess it's the same with like the Dark Souls games. And
It's the same with like that, Binding of Isaac, Enter the Gungeon, which is another one I could have put on here.
You can like I work gaming retail. I won't say where, but like, you know, people who bring back those kind of games are like, it's too hard. I'm like, you bought this yesterday.
You didn't.
You bought this game yesterday, bud.
Yeah,
It takes a little bit of patience to learn the mechanics.
It's also not for everyone, and I get that. Like,
I get that too. Yeah.
But you kind of have to know what you're getting into with this kind of game. Like,
you just hear like, oh, everyone's talking about Dark Souls or Dead Cells and stuff. Like, and then you get into it, you're like, oh, I'm not quite into this kind of.
Yeah,
game.
Like people with Sekiro.
I love that game.
Yeah, people were. I
think
haven't
it's my
played
favorite
it.
Souls game.
I might never play it because I'll probably be. I've never played a Souls game.
No.
So.
It's probably
sure
the most rewarding video games I've ever played in my life
Yeah.
is those Souls games, just because of. It's not necessarily like I don't want to say they're too hard because I find Sekiro actually. I don't want to say it's easy. It's not easy. I find it just like the way the game works. I just like there's so much verticality. You can kind of piece out of all fights if you wanted to.
Yeah. Do you think that is a game that could possibly come to the Switch? Or is it too graphically intensive? It doesn't look like it's that crazy.
It doesn't, but there are moments in the game where you're like, wow, that's beautiful, and that would probably take some.
They would take a lot of it.
There's some bosses that you fight that are pretty. There's one in particular that's pretty big that you fight.
Okay.
But you know they got Dark Souls on the Switch,
They
and
did.
that ran apparently pretty well.
Yeah.
So
You never know what'll run on the Switch. Apparently Doom.
because I don't have an issue with like I know some people had this complaint with Mortal Kombat 11 being like oh like it looks a lot shittier than the PlayStation 4 or Xbox, and to me I'm like as long as the gameplay is the exact same. Like if
With
you're
a
gonna take
fighting
some
game,
hits,
it's kind of
you need 60 frames.
frame rate
Yeah.
is the most important thing.
And
But if you're a graphics stickler, then like
don't get it on
just
the
get
Switch.
it on PS4.
Just get it on PS4.
But what's wrong with the Switch doesn't have to be that console that has all those. Like it can, and if people have like the option to buy it, that's great.
Yeah.
But like if you have a PS4 and a Switch, just get it on PS4. Like if that's where you really want like the best graphical fidelity.
Exactly. It's
Anyway,
not on the
so
Switch.
Dead Cells.
Dead Cells is your fourth.
Number 4, yeah.
My number 4 is probably Cuphead. I love Cuphead.
The 2D Dark Souls, as they say.
The 2D of Dark Souls.
Oh man.
I hate that analogy.
So I said because we were talking about this before, and I said we'll wait for the podcast because you said you were on the dragon boss, and that is the exact same boss that I am.
Oh no way!
Yeah,
Seriously?
yeah. Island 2. I've beaten.
I like just got to him, so I'm
So
sorry.
you beat the clown. You beat
I beat the clown. I beat
the one with the candy.
Yeah, I beat her. Yeah, she was annoying.
She was awful. Yeah.
Because I could always get to the very end, and then she'd start. Because like the castle starts climbing at you, and I'm just like I had issues.
That's the thing. It's the head that kept following.
Yeah,
you.
I had issues getting around the head that she threw at you, but no, it's a great game.
I had the same with the clown, but you got to get into the end with the baseball, like people throwing the baseballs at you.
Yeah,
that's a tough game, but
it's
on.
tough. No, I love it. It's very cool, like 2D action game. Fight. I like the boss fights. Like they're all super well done. Like some of the 2Ds, like the run and gun levels, are kind of like frustrating. And sometimes I'm like, does this need to be in the game?
The game is the game should be all boss fights.
All bosses.
Like, that's kind of where the strength lies.
Because the run and gun kind of feels
tacked on a little. Like,
yeah.
It just feels like an old NES game where they kept throwing shit at you. Like that didn't have any rhyme or reason.
Yeah, you're like, wow, this
enemy's not falling from the sky. This one's coming from this way out of nowhere. Like Ninja Gaiden.
It's like being difficult for the sake of being difficult.
Yeah.
You know? But the bosses, they all feel fair. Whenever I die, I'm like, yep, that was my bad.
Yeah.
I died.
Yeah. It gets pretty frustrating for sure. But you kind of have to.
Like
again,
I said,
it's one of those
Souls
games.
It's so rewarding. It's so rewarding.
It was like the first game in a while where like I beat a boss or I beat a part of it and I audibly like yes, like got up out of my chair and cheered.
Yeah.
And the best thing about Cuphead, I think, is just everyone knows it. It's the visual style. Like it's insanely beautiful. Like
Mostly
you
hand
look
drawn.
at it's got that rubber hose animation or whatever, which is great. Like when used in this kind of sense.
It's kind of you can kind of see their influences with the bosses too, because like the candy lady person reminds me of I guess is it Popeye's girlfriend? I forget her name. Is it Penelope or I forget her name?
Betty Boop.
Betty Boop. Nah.
I
forget. But.
Yeah, I don't remember in it. Daphne? I don't know.
I'll throw up a little picture.
Yeah, sure.
If you're on YouTube, I'll throw up a
They
picture.
all, yeah. I mean, I got Felix the Cat vibes, and that was like a big thing of my childhood. But it's just beautiful, and it runs flawlessly. Like, on the Switch. I've never had any frame issues at all. It's so good. Like it's the first game in a while that I've just bought merchandise for. So like pop figures and like little figurines and stuff.
You shouldn't see my bedroom then.
Because
I'm trying to get rid of them.
Well, I'm not a collector of pops figurines, but yeah.
I like slowly collected them throughout the years, and then now I've kind of just looked at my collection like, why?
What have I done?
Get rid of them.
Yeah, I never got into the craze too much, but
I'm a big amiibo guy. I have every single. There's a couple hundred of them for sure.
I kind of regret not getting into it. You have a
couple hundred. Sorry, there's over 100. I have all the Smash ones. I have all the Mario guys. I stayed away from Kirby, Fire Emblem. I actually have a few Fire Emblems, but I stayed away from it.
Do you get the Breath of the Wild?
Oh, all of them. I have them all. Yeah.
I never got into amiibo, and I kind of regret it because
they're cool. I don't open mine though, so I don't actually use them for what they're meant for.
Totally fair.
Because I just like the figures.
Yeah, they're good. They're good. They're good on a shelf.
It's kind of like one of those things where it's like, because I grew up playing Melee, and like they all had like trophies and stuff. I'm like,
it totally reminds me of the Melee trophies.
So.
Cuphead amiibo when?
Yeah, when? Maybe.
Let's make it happen.
Maybe. Yeah, so that was your
number 4.
That was my number 4. So you got a third one.
Yeah. So down to the top 3. It's the big 3.
The big ones.
In my opinion, these games kind of stand above all the rest. My number 3. Maybe you haven't heard of it. It came out the same day as Cuphead, and was kind of forgotten about.
What was it?
It came out the same day as Cuphead and the Joker Smash DLC.
What is it?
It's called Katana Zero.
Yeah. It's like that really bloody one, right?
Really bloody ninja. No, sorry, not ninja. Samurai. Like throwback to the 80s aesthetic. Like it reminds me of Hotline Miami, but in 2D. And Hotline Miami.
Does it play like Hotline Miami, or how does it play?
It's actually quite similar. Yeah. So you get into a room that you have to clear in one shot without getting hit. Okay. You get hit once, you're dead. But it's a lot. It's very action and fast. It's very actiony and fast. So you kind of have all the arsenal you need to take out the room. You just have to kind of. It's not even really stealthy. Like there's some parts that are stealth, but like as long as you're fast about it, you can kind of clear a room of enemies. It's a beautiful. Like the soundtrack is very 80s, like 80s inspired synthwave, like
cool,
like Hotline Miami. Yeah, I like it a lot. It's kind of scratches that hard itch, scratches the difficult game itch for me, even more than Cuphead. Like, because it has that balance of being really hard, but like once you kind of get it, like you can you're a pro. With Cuphead, you kind of have to grind in like every boss battle. But Katana Zero is amazing, and it would have been one of the best indie games on Switch if it was just an amazing game. But it also has a surprisingly great story.
Really?
You basically play this guy who I don't want to get too deep into the plot, but he's kind of addicted to this mysterious drug.
Okay.
That makes him different in a way, and
this is the character you play as?
The character you play as. Okay. Yeah. And it kind of gets deep into a lot of different themes that a lot of indie games, video games, wouldn't go into.
Right.
It reminds me of like a dark 80s action movie turned into a game, and it's really good.
Have you watched a movie called Mandy?
I know about it.
Yeah, I watched it last night. Yeah, it was very, very good.
Yeah.
What you were just saying is basically was Mandy was. Yeah.
Okay. I haven't seen it. Is it on Netflix?
It's on Shudder.
Okay,
yeah. It's like this psychedelic, hyper gory,
I'm into
like drug induced,
over the top kind of stuff. So.
Yeah, it's really well done.
Cool.
Cool. So that was your
Katana Zero. Yeah.
Katana Zero was
that's my number 3. I did make a post about it as well. Without a beer.
You guys have to follow.
Follow Game Brews.
Follow Game Brews.
Get on it.
Come on, don't be silly. Yeah. Just do it. I guess
it's really good. I recommend because it kind of got overshadowed by Cuphead. So
that seems like maybe they should have waited.
So it was like kind of one of the high. Well, it was on the same indie. You know the big indie direct that they did.
Yeah.
It was on the same one.
Right.
And it both had the
both people
release.
were like,
both had the release date.
Yeah.
And it was like, this game looks really good, but I can tell I can already tell it's kind of going to be overlooked.
Yeah.
It's my game of the year so far. So
wow,
don't sleep on it. It's very good. Check it out.
Ooh.
Yeah.
After you said that, I kind of want to get it.
Just
now.
go get it.
Oh my God. I'll see you guys later. Have a good one. Okay.
Yep.
I guess my third, I'd probably have to say Hollow Knight.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
probably my third. I'm not huge into Metroidvania-like games, like unless they are Metroid or Castlevania. You know what I mean? Because like I find like you have there's like flow, and it's just really fun, and then you hit a wall,
Or it's like,
and you just don't know where to go. Or
yeah, I mean the one that I don't like Metroidvanias either.
Yeah.
And the one example of a game where I just kind of got so burnt out with was Axiom Verge.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people liked it. It's not for me.
Yeah.
I respect that though. Anyway, continue with Hollow Knight. Yeah.
But I feel like the way they did Hollow Knight, there's every path seemed to have somewhere to go and like upgrades to find.
Yeah.
I never felt like, and I was never frustrated with like, I'm like, oh, I don't know where to go. But this world's beautiful. The enemy's really fun to fight. Like I'm just gonna walk around for a bit and see what I can.
It's an immense world too.
Yeah.
Like I never finished it. I actually, that could have been in my top 5 games. I got to a boss fight that I just could not beat. Like,
Couldn't beat him? Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I don't have the skill, but it's the next thing I have to do, and I just can't beat it. Did you beat it?
No.
Yeah.
I have to go back.
Same boat.
I like started playing it on a trip, and then I got home and I just stopped playing it, so I have to get back into it. That's what's so great about the Switch.
Yeah. Pick it up, put it down.
Yeah.
Yeah. And with indie games, it's not like you got this immense story that you gotta. Well, sometimes you do, but like
Sometimes.
you know, you could go back to a Hollow Knight and not miss a thing because
Right.
it's you know, it's not like playing
It's a
Red-
bug,
it's not
in,
like
a,
playing
bug
Red
in a
Dead.
hole. That's
And so indie games on the Switch, being it portable and
Yeah.
pick 'em, put down, it's perfect. I mean, you know, like I said before, Katana to Zero has an amazing story, but it's not like one that you would forget.
right.
It's easy to remember. So
All right, what's your top 2?
top 2, down to the top 2. I feel
Top
like
2.
we might have the same top 2. Maybe not. Maybe we will though.
Maybe.
Because
I
we
think
talked
I know
about
what you're
both
gonna
of
say.
these
I think
games.
we talked about it. Yeah.
So number 2 for me is The Messenger.
Ooh. Uh-oh.
Is that your number 2 as well?
Yeah, I'll just say it right now. That's my number 2
Okay,
as well.
sweet.
Yeah.
I initially played The Messenger at PAX East, actually.
You went to PAX?
Yes.
No
My
way.
girlfriend and I went to PAX East in Boston. We took a Greyhound, 4 Greyhound buses to get there.
Oh my God. Was it worth it?
That's a whole other
whole
story.
other conversation.
Flying's more expensive. Just fly.
Yeah.
Just fly. We did it because it was cheaper, but
Yeah.
it wasn't the best. Anyway, we did an Airbnb and it was fine. So we went to PAX and we got to play a shit ton of games.
Yeah.
And my standout was The Messenger. It scratched that Shovel Knight itch for me, which
Yeah.
is one of my favorite games of all time.
Yeah.
But it had that added mechanic. And some people think this is a spoiler, but it's not really because it's all over the advertisements of like changing from 8-bit to 16-bit.
Yeah, the time
and
travel
back.
type thing.
And like when you're doing that, it opens up different pathways. So basically, you play as a ninja called the Messenger. He's tasked to take this message across the land,
Yeah.
or to the top of the mountain, whatever.
And it's a very self-aware game.
Very
It's like,
self-aware,
this is
super
very
meta.
stupid, but I'm going to do it anyway because I like to adventure.
The shopkeeper is very funny.
Oh, he's very great.
It's very tongue in cheek. It doesn't take itself seriously at all.
No.
Which, you know, sometimes that's good, sometimes that's bad. I found it fine. I didn't find the writing that bad at all. But yeah, like it's kind of, well, so the first half is very linear. And you're playing, and it's very fun, fun Ninja Gaiden-esque gameplay. And then, you know, at some point you get to switch into the 16-bit world from the 8-bit world, which is where you start off. And the music changes with it.
Yes.
And it's just so cool.
Music is some of my favorite tracks of all. All gaming.
I have both soundtracks downloaded on my phone.
Yeah.
Like that I listen to them constantly. It's very good music.
Yeah.
And kind of, you know, both styles, the chip tunes and the MIDI of the 16-bit, they just both really work well.
Yeah.
And so, not to spoil too much, I guess, of the experience, but like you get to the end of your 8-bit, like the journey for the first half, and then the ability to do 16-bit opens up.
Yep.
And it kind of turns into a different kind of game. Whereas once it was very linear, it kind of becomes a little more open.
Yeah.
And that actually, I was initially put off by that, and I found that the way that they implemented it was kind of not great. But kind of once you figure out what you're supposed to do, it becomes a little bit easier. But,
I got really stuck at some parts, and I had to look it up.
You kind of do get stuck.
It felt very cryptic, and there's like some
The stupid
rhymes
hints
and
that they give you.
Yeah, I'm like, how did I know to be there?
I don't like that. I don't like that system at all. And so you have this one guy who like gives you a hint of where you have to go. Otherwise, you're just exploring with like no idea where to go. Yeah. But the hints are always super vague. And you kind of have to, you can pay the shopkeeper to give you like a straight up hint, like this is where you have to go. And I actually used that a few times because I'm just like,
I don't have time.
I don't get this. But it's just such a good game that that didn't really ruin it for me. And so that would be my number 2 indie game on the Switch.
Same with me. And basically everything you said was what I agree with. I think what got me hooked was the double jump mechanic. When you hit something, you can do another jump.
Yeah.
And that's what hooked me.
Cloud leaping or something.
Yeah,
weird. Cloud step.
That's because I saw adverts and I saw that mechanic. I was like, that's the coolest shit I've ever seen in my life. That is so fun.
The slice that they had at PAX East was super good. So, it kind of showed you all, like, even though the 8-bit to 16-bit doesn't come in until later, they kind of showed you that mechanic, and they showed you the cloud stepping. They showed you all these different mechanics. So
cool.
Yeah, it's good.
So I guess we're just gonna move on to our number one. Number one.
So my number one indie game on the Nintendo Switch, Celeste.
Celeste.
Is that your number one as well?
I'll say another one.
Okay.
I'll say another one.
Yeah, that was your number one though.
Yeah.
You can be honest.
But I'll say another one.
Okay, so Celeste. I'm a 2D platformer guy, so like. A lot of the games you've seen on my list are 2D games. They're side scrollers. It's like, where are all the other games? Well, where are all the other kinds of games? That's my kind of game. So that's what you're gonna get from me. Like, if you want anything else, like I don't have it. Well, sometimes I do. Donut County's not a 2D side scroller. Man, Celeste is just like the best games for me are the ones that take strong gameplay and a strong story and meld it together and tell a story through the gameplay.
Right.
And like a strong kind of story. I'm not someone who's dealt with mental health or anxiety or anything like that. Like I've been lucky to have be a pretty healthy person in that sense. But the story still hits home, it's like this.
I think everybody deals with anxiety at one point.
Yeah. I'm just saying it's not like a constant struggle for me. But yeah, you're right. Even when you're dealing with anxiety, like the metaphor of the mountain being something that you have to overcome, just seeing this young woman's journey from tackling her own anxiety and then realizing that like, your mental health or your troubles, your problems are a part of you, and you shouldn't be scared of them. Like,
right.
That's what makes you you. So, it's an amazing platformer. The gameplay's solid, but other than like. Just in terms of the story itself, like it hits home and it's really good. Do you have any thoughts on Celeste?
We've talked about Celeste on this channel before. Okay. So basically what you've said, I'm like, just like you, I'm a huge 2D side scrolling fan. So I just loved the challenge of it, and it didn't feel, it was enough challenge that it didn't feel easy, but not enough to make it feel like it's impossible. Mm-hmm. But like you said with the story, like that, the story hit home as well, and I'm basically repeating you.
Yeah. Well, we have the same top 2.
Yeah.
Although if you're gonna think,
I'm gonna change a new. I kind of like. I should have wrote my top 5 down because I don't think ukulele should have been there. Because I was like, at first I was like, oh, it's gonna be Stardew is my number 1, and then you said Celeste. I'm like, I forgot Celeste on my list. That should have been there.
Get ukulele.
So I'm gonna see you, Yuka. So for me,
StarDew Valley.
It's Cuphead. It's what was the next one? Hollow Knight, Messenger, or was Messenger 2?
Messenger Celeste. Because you had ukulele originally.
Yeah. And my number 1, I love Stardew Valley.
Yeah.
I'm a huge Harvest Moon Rune Factory fan.
Yeah.
I love tending to my farm. and getting my farm animals and killing beasts in the dungeons.
Yeah,
and
it's
getting married. That's all fun.
hey, get married in a video game. Why not?
Get married.
Live your best life. No.
And it's something that my girlfriend and I were able to finally find a game that her and I could play together.
Yeah.
Especially with the co-op and stuff.
Yeah.
It was like the reason why she has a Switch is because of Stardew. It's just a fantastic game. There's just so much to it, and like I find just hours fly by in this game, just like they do in the game, but like in real life.
I don't have it on Switch, but I do have it on PlayStation, and
I didn't get hooked until I had it on the Switch because I had it on PlayStation, and it always got to the point where I had to shut it off and kind of leave. But like with my Switch, I just always had it with me, and just.
Well, I have the Vita version as well.
Oh, okay.
I'm one of those guys.
One of those.
Yeah. So I play it occasionally. I want to love it more than I do. Like any Animal Crossing game that comes out, I want to love. Like I want to be able to invest. But like eventually, I'm probably gonna move on. Mm-hmm. But I do like it. I think it's amazing, especially for people who like those kind of games.
Yeah.
Honorable mentions.
I
have like a list.
Sure. I think Into the Breach was one of them.
Oh, yeah.
I have to play it because I've been told amazing things about Into the Breach.
That is absolutely my top honorable mention. Cuphead would be one. Hollow Knight would be one.
Yep.
SteamWorld Heist.
Oh, I haven't played that one. Is SteamWorld Dig on there? Because I love
SteamWorld Dig 1 and 2.
1 and 2. I love 2. 2 is so good.
And now SteamWorld Quest, which is a card-based RPG.
Oh.
They're literally doing they're making SteamWorld a thing.
Okay.
And they're just making
a bunch of different games.
A bunch of different games in different genres.
I've only played Dig, and I love that game.
I liked it okay. But I like Heist a lot. It's kind of like it's a turn-based strategy game. 2D turn-based strategy game. It's really cool. War Groove. That's basically Advance Wars.
Okay.
But in 2019.
Okay.
It's almost exactly like Advance Wars. Like, do you remember that from the Game Boy Advance?
Yeah, it's been years.
Fire Emblem type game. No one ever really made a sequel or a successor to it.
It's like Advance Wars Dual Strike, I think was one of them.
Yeah, that's on DS, I think. Yeah. Ape Out, which is like a Hotline Miami, but you're playing as an ape.
Oh yeah, I've seen that one. I've seen that one. Yeah.
Darkest Dungeon, which I have back there.
I need to play that video game. It's amazing.
It's very hard, and I will never beat it.
Nope.
But that is exactly the same with most. Grease, like I mentioned earlier, it's kind of like it's like an artsy game where you're like, it's like about grief, and you're like reviving colors to the world and stuff. It's really
cool.
And then Overcooked 2.
Overcooked
and Overcooked 2. Like,
yeah, they're all great.
Perfect. And I got
couch co-op games. Yeah,
perfect couch co-op games, and with my girlfriend, that's the games that we like. Those are the games that we like to play together.
Yeah.
Because it's wacky.
It's super wacky.
So wacky.
Dude.
But
so wacky.
Lots of great shit to buy on the Switch.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's an amazing console to have for indie games. So I guess that's about it for this episode. So we were drinking the Spring Fever Oat Ale with hibiscus from the Grain and Grit. You guys should check it out if you're in the GTA area.
Yeah, it's getting like. The taste is like opening up as it's warming up too. Like it's very good.
It's very nice. And you liked it. It was a good beer.
I do like it. Yes, very good beer.
And so thank you guys so much for joining us. Thank you, James, for coming on to Game and Scotch. Make sure you check out Game Brews on Instagram. It's just at Game Brews. I'll put his link down below. And thank you guys so much for watching. And subscribe, like, do all that fun stuff. We're also on Instagram, Facebook. We're everywhere. So thanks so much for watching, and have a great day, evening, morning. Have a great commute. Buy some Switch games. Tell us what you like. Yeah. Downwell is really good, and it's only a couple bucks. Get Downwell. That's a good one. And
there's so many. Just open up the We'll just hang on. Just open up the eShop. We'll just list them all.
Yeah, let's list them up. Every single one is good. Not true.
That's not true. There's a lot of bad. There's a lot of bad indie games, but luckily most of them stay on Steam.
There you go.
So
yeah,
we're fine.
So thanks, guys. Have a good one. Bye.